There's really only two ways to grow your business. You either get more clients or you get them to be worth more. Now, one of the most scalable solutions to achieving that goal that most hyper successful entrepreneurs employ is utilizing cold email to go out and engage your audiences in a vast majority. Now, in this video, I'm going to be breaking down our lead generation strategy and how we're utilizing cold email to book hundreds of calls for us and our clients and generate north of $7 million in annual recurring revenue across that basis. Every lead generation strategy really comes down to like one key common trait, and it's, do they have an offer that fits with the market and it's impactful and really beneficial to their ideal client persona? When I look at our portfolio of 20 plus clients at this point, like one of the key attributes for what makes these clients incredibly successful when working with us, and one of the common traits of every lead generation strategy, is they have a really good offer that resonates with the target population that they're looking to engage with. And it has a quantifiable end result that's going to be ultimately positive to either that person or the business there. And then our focus and really our whole job at BuzzLead is just to scale that offer and get that in front of more people to ultimately help grow their business and grow ours. And like, it's a win-win for everyone involved. So like when you look at those offers, like it comes down to 5 key attributes. That first one is like, does it have a quantifiable end result when working with us? And it's either saving time, saving money, making more money, or raising their status. Like it's some sort of quantifiable aspect that you're bringing back to that person itself or the business. And like, that's the biggest thing that you're selling on, because if you're not having a positive impact back on the business or that person, like what are you doing here? You need to reshape that offer to be more compelling to achieve one of those end results. That second thing is, is there a timeline associated when working with you? Is it a 60-day blueprint? Is it a 90-day weight loss program? Like, when am I going to achieve that certain result by? Otherwise, we're kind of just like wandering in the midst of like, how are you going to achieve that result, right? That's third aspect is like, what is the unique mechanism that you're employing to achieve that said result? Now, it doesn't need to be like a sexy launch plan or blueprint that I mentioned. Not that that doesn't help, but how are you ultimately going to achieve those results that they prospect may not be aware of, or that you have a unique edge in that you can kind of delineate in the conversation to be like, this is how I can be able to achieve such good results because we're employing this unique mechanism. And then number 4, and arguably the most important, is there a clear and specified niche that you're looking to appeal to? So are you like going after home service brands? Are you going after gyms? Are you going after doctors, lawyers? Like, what is the ideal target population that you're looking to engage with? And are you going to be really specific in that approach? And when you look at all of our customers, they have huge niches, which makes them incredibly successful. Like there's at least 10,000 accounts within their portfolios that we're able to go out and engage with at mass scale. And so when you're looking at something over 10,000 accounts, right, if you're able to knock off 1% of that, you're gonna have a huge dent in the market that you can scale into and continue to grow your business. And so just having that niche, be specific about who you're reaching out to, because at the end of the day, like while everyone might benefit from your services, the more specific that you're going to be, the more it's going to resonate and the less noise you're going to create in the market. And then number 5 is just a bonus. It's a risk reversal. It doesn't need to be employed in all use cases. For example, the Adobes, the Microsofts, the Salesforces of the world, they don't utilize risk reversals because they have case studies. They have proof about what they can bring to the table and the impacts that they're going to drive back to a business. Now, a smaller startup that's under $1 million in annual recurring revenue, or has never been heard of by that target population, like you're going to need to employ a risk reversal to bring down their resistance to buying with you, or just even engaging with you in the first place. Because if they're going to make this buying decision, it's going to cost them political capital and economic capital as well. And so like having that risk reversal kind of like lowers that resistance a little bit. And so you're able to appear to those target populations a little bit more. So let me show you how this works within BuzzLead, our business, right? So BuzzLead, we're a performance-based B2B lead generation agency. We partner with B2B SaaS and service brands to help them book meetings on a monthly basis. So what that sounds like in context, or at least a cold email campaign, is we partner with B2B SaaS and service brands to book them 8 to 12 meetings every single month on a performance basis, utilizing our cold email outbound prospecting techniques. Now, let's break that first part, the niche, right? We partner with B2B SaaS and service brands. That's the niche. That's the target population we're going after. To book them 8 to 12 meetings on a monthly basis. That is both the quantifiable end result and the timeline associated with it. We then say on a performance basis. So that's a risk reversal there. So you only pay for the qualified meetings that we set for you. And then lastly, number 5 is just the unique mechanism that we're employing, right? Our cold email outbound prospecting techniques, or our cold email system, or our cold email acquisition clients. Like you can brand it 100 ways in one. And it's ultimately something you're going to want to test out to see what's resonating with the audience there itself. But like that is a structural elements that you want to employ. And it just should be like one sentence. Like, what are you bringing to the market? And keep it really clean. It's like, that's your offer there. And that's what you're selling. So that should always be the crux of your email. Like that is the patty on your burger. And if you're missing one of these key elements, it's probably not going to be as juicy as you want it to be. So I encourage you to go back to the table. So once we have this offer that's worth promoting, it's all around like, all right, who is the target population or niche that we're going to appeal to that we can scale into? So like what our process typically looks like at a high level, and what we encourage all of our clients that start with us is we run a lookalike campaign first. So we ask them like, what are your best clients that are engaging with you right now? And if you can't think of your best clients, like who is paying 80% of your revenue right now? And I bet it's coming from 20% of those clients. So like if we're able to find that 20%, we're able to duplicate it, right? Like that would be a huge impact back to your business. You're able to grow almost like 2x just like that by finding similar populations at a similar volume. And so with that idea in mind, we take their ideal list of clients and then we import that into Ocean. It's a data scraping tool. It utilizes Booleans research to essentially figure out a bunch of different lookalike audiences or companies that are similar to the ones that we're importing there. Then this will return, a list of 1 to 10,000 different businesses that you're then going to want to take that list. You're going to just want to download the HTMLs. But we take that lead list and then we just jump that into something like Apollo or ListKit or ZoomInfo. And then you just figure out like who's the actual target persona that you're looking to engage with within the business, whether that's a marketing persona, the finance guy or gal, or the CEO, like who is that target persona? So then you have a really highly targeted lead list of these individuals, which is great. You're like almost there, but you need to verify your emails utilizing a tool like Million Verifier or Scrubby. This is like one crucial step that often gets missed by a lot of the students within our school community. And it ultimately ends up leaving you guys in spam because like oftentimes like people are on do not contact lists and whatnot. So like you got to have that information. You got to make sure that the emails are qualified, that they're safe, and then you can start sending off of them. So we have our offer. And then we have our lead list that is lookalike audiences that are valid email addresses and that we know are going to end up in the inbox. Now, this last part of the lead generation strategy or cold email campaigns that you're going to want to run is arguably the most important. Because if you don't speak to the target persona and the pain points or their dreams, like their desires or your fears, like what they're encountering right now, like it's just not going to resonate at all. And you're just going to fall on deaf ears. But there's an art to this. So don't just be like, I know that you're dealing with this challenge and this pain point. No, like be a human, but be artful in your delivery, right? Like it's a sales approach and you're sales, right? So like what you've seen typically in advertising, just to give you a reference point here is oftentimes like on dentist commercials is like 9 out of 10 dentists recommend this toothpaste, right? Alternatively, you'll see this in like groupthink of like when a new movie comes out and it gets 99% on Rotten Tomatoes, like they are blasting that everywhere, right? To show that everyone else views this movie as good. So like you need to go see it too because 99% of people are like, a million people gave this 100% reviews or 99% reviews. Like everyone else is like talking about this movie, it's buzzing, right? So like there's that groupthink that you can leverage. Now, you can utilize that same thing in your cold email campaigns, but you need to have it backed by like a resource or a data point. So like alternatively, what you can do to make it a little bit less formal in your approach is just be like, we've heard from others that they're dealing with X, Y, and Z, or we've been working with others that have been challenged with X, Y, and Z challenge. And then you want to be a little bit more like artful in that approach. You don't want to just like throw out the pain point. So for us as a B2B lead generation agency, like we don't just go out and say like, we've heard from others that generating leads is hard. Like, of course it's hard, but like, that doesn't really resonate or like get to the point at all. So like, for example, like it's the summertime right now. So we're like, we've heard from other B2B SaaS and service owners that generating leads in the summertime is growing increasingly difficult, or looking at our pipeline in Q3 can be a little bit nerve-wracking when we look at the rest of the year. Like what is that unique pain point that we can tap into that's relevant at this time frame to really like accentuate that point to then just like tie into what we're going to offer that's going to be relevant to that target population. And then lastly, like an easy one to just like speak to the target populations. Like I noticed that you oversee marketing or finance or operations or safety or security, right? Like, are you dealing with X, Y, and Z? Or I'm sure you're frustrated with pain point, right? Like we like to utilize that one as like, I'm sure you're frustrated with, or I'm sure you're scared, because like we're utilizing a trigger word that's like scared, frustrated, challenged. And then we're actually like labeling their emotions. So it's like a psychological element to that to be like, I understand where you're coming from right now because like we've worked with others that have dealt with that same thing. So it's like a quick psychological element, but it like takes your cold email game a little bit far. So like those are 3 psychological components that are like really key in marketing and sales to really go out and resonate with that audience there itself. And then that next part just flows into the offer, right? So like you're back to that patty, the burger. Consider what we did with the personalization, like the lettuce and the tomato on that burger. The offer is going to be that meat, the real like meat and patties there. And then you're either going to flow into like 2 different elements that we like to employ. One is, of course, just like the classic case study. Like if you're running that lookalike audience campaign that I just mentioned, utilizing Ocean and Apollo and Million Verifier Scrubby, like great. Tie in that case study that we imported for those like best fit clients, because it's going to speak directly to them. And like if they're aware of their competitor, which I imagine they are, then like that's going to resonate really well, because like if you were able to do this for X or A persona, then there's a likely chance you'll be able to do this for B, right? And so like it just drives their relevance. But what a lot of people aren't doing right now is saying specifically how that offer is going to tie into your business. And so you can do this for one, like specifically we just helped XYZ achieve this, or like specifically I think this could do X for your business. And you can do that either just like within like one foul swoop utilizing just like a generic blanket statement, or you can utilize GPT. And what you can do is just like take in that company description, pull in their SEO snippet, and then just utilize and then provide your company as well, your company description, what your guys' offer is. And then you just utilize AI within Clay to essentially just like bridge those two together and make that one clean sentence that you can import there, and then you just have that call to action. Now, one key element that I didn't mention here when we're talking about copywriting is the use of Spintax. Spintax is a syntax formula, which essentially just variates the email that's going out or the message that's going out to each individual. One of the biggest things that when it happens to the spam filters, just specifically at an enterprise level too, is was the email personalized to that target population, or is like, are you just sending out 1,000 of the same emails to somebody? Like, that's easy to flag. But if it's Spintax and you have different messages going out to A persona, B persona, C persona, D persona, like, it's going to keep the system guessing. They're not going to be able to spoof it nearly as well, and you're going to keep yourself out of those spam filters there. So you can also utilize AI in your cold email campaigns or lead generation strategy. It wouldn't be a lead generation video if I didn't talk around cold email. I have a longer video going over all AI techniques that we're employing right now. I also dropped a bunch of resources about that on Twitter, which I'll likely just share in the link in the description here. But like quick, like 5 reasons that we're utilizing it right now. One is to call out the competitors. Number 2 is to call out the industry or the vertical that they're working in, be like really specific around that. We're utilizing SerperDev right now to pull out their SEO description or like their SEO snippet, like what they brand themselves as, and then have GPT to just like figure out like what that unique keyword is. We then utilize that as like we're working with other specific like niche to achieve, you know, the really just fall into the offer. Then next part there is that, or number 3 is like we like to call out their peers to their colleagues. That's typically in a pretty casual format. And that might even be a CTA of like, would you be open to speaking with this, or should I reach out to X, Y, and Z about this topic? Or like even just having that in the PS is like, PS, let me know if you or X, Y, Z would be better to speak to about this. It just shows the personalization and just makes you seem really human. Once again, just utilize Claygen to go onto their LinkedIn sales staff page, scrape that information, and just like figure out who that target persona is. Also just like run a verification check utilizing a formula to ensure that the name you're reaching out to isn't the actual name that you're pulling from the LinkedIn and sales nav, because that would be awkward because that's the same person, and then it's going to be just totally fall flat. Number 4 is just providing SEO, website, content ideas, marketing ideas. Pretty much just utilize AI to go and view their website and provide like 3 creative ideas. We utilize this often. I posted a recent case study with Chris Lee from Team Comma, what like their offer framework and like what I've explained in our video today is exactly what we did for them, and that continues to generate them 20+ meetings every single month and $135,000. And I think they just closed another client the other day. So like when used correctly and effectively, it can do really, really well. And then lastly is pulling in something like website traffics or analytics, specifically from if you're on like a marketing side of things or website development, to be like, hey, I noticed you're getting this amount of traffic hitting your website. It looks like the bounce rate is this. Like, I think we could effectively accomplish a 30% boost in conversion rates by having, you know, a couple tweaks there. And so like that's a heavier dose of AI in that email there, but we've seen that be effective for other website development companies, but just because it's so specific into the challenges that company's accomplishing and like what would that downstream impact look like to the business itself. Although this video discusses some of the main reasons why you're not getting the results that you wanted with your lead generation strategy, it really just barely scratches the surface on what lead generation is in total. So if you want to learn more about lead generation strategy and some of our best performing client campaigns and how you can achieve similar results, I've got more information in this video here. Talk to you guys soon.